first time I ever heard of SUNY ESF was actually at a conference that I went to on communication and the environment. I'm just like, okay, what is this tiny little school in upstate New York? And yet they are having such a profound impact on this area of scholarship and on, the practice of engaging people in environmental decision making. That was my first exposure to SUNY ESF, and it made me want to apply for a job here. To come here and have everybody with the same interest in these same perspectives and these same value systems was kind of like a breath of fresh air. And it's nice because you know that when you're talking about these subjects, that they hit home with people. There's this almost expectation that everybody has an interest and a passion related to natural resources in the environment, which makes teaching classes here really interesting. I teach research methods in environmental studies, which I find to be an absolutely awesome class to teach because students are interested in these issues and how do we do the science, how do we do the research that informs our knowledge on these issues. I'm kind of pulling back the curtain, I'm opening the black box of how research is conducted. Also, I train them to be able to implement some of these methods into the future. And it helps them understand, okay, the average member of the public doesn't know how to interpret a scientific publication. My students do. And then also it prepares them for being a potential researcher in the future. And also just how to be an informed citizen. The other course that I teach, Environmental Communication Workshop, this is really focused in on engaging the public in a very inclusive way in environmental decision making and also how to implement conflict resolution. And it really focuses on, how democracy is practiced and how through various mandates for environmental legislation, how the public has a right to engage in decision-making processes. So what are their rights? Where are the spaces? And then how they can go about doing that. We have to wade through the complexity of these issues because they're not black and white. They're extremely complex. And complexity doesn't mean that we just throw our hands up in the air and be like, okay, we just need to share some information, they're informed, and we can go on and make a decision. No. If we practice democracy in its truest form, we are engaging in a way that there's an agreed upon pathway forward. This is a wonderful, byproduct of teaching the research methods class. I inevitably have students that have taken that class that I will bring into my research and they'll help conduct research. One of my research projects that has been focused on energy democracy as a social movement that is focused on how do we make a transition to renewable energy sources, moving away from fossil fuels, but how do we do that in a just and equitable manner? We're addressing social ills related to the energy system while also making a transition because we're running out of fossil fuels, they're contributing to climate change, there's a whole plethora of issues there, but we can't ignore the social problems that have been consistent with the energy system. This is a social movement that is geared towards, trying to address those ills as we're transitioning, because this is a prime opportunity to do so. The students are, again, they are interested in these issues, but also they come here and they're exposed to so much more. It's like they have a prior degree of knowledge and an understanding of its importance and a value for these systems. But they come here to take that and mold it into something that is useful in the world so that they can be an element of change. They're coming in and then we're giving them the tools and the skills that they need to go off in the world and be those leaders and change makers. We get to take that spark and fuel the flame.